I'm here in Aboitiz headquarters in BGC, and I'm about to talk to one of the most respected veterans in Philippine real estate, Aboitiz CEO and President David Rafael.
David Rafael is a visionary. Since 2019, he has led Aboitiz, growing on his 33 years of real estate experience in senior roles at major real estate companies. An active person known for his daily runs, Dave's disciplined and high-energy approach mirrors his leadership style. He guided Aboitiz through the pandemic whirlwind and spearheaded its great turnaround in 2021, laying the foundation for the thriving, future-ready organization it is today. Under 5 years of his leadership, Aboitiz has built and nurtured a culture of innovation and customer centricity, building beautiful and sustainable communities. He helped shape the Vecino experience, elevated, convenient, and secure living with a strong sense of belonging.
Hi!
Hi,
How are
Mara.
you?
How are you? Good
David
to see you.
Rafael, fresh
you.
from his win.
Thank you very much.
CEO of the Year Circle of Excellence.
Thank
so
you very
how does
much.
it feel?
Really great honor to be recognized for that very special award. And it came at a very good time. 30th anniversary of Aboitiz and I'm going to be retiring very soon. So came in just as the perfect time, I think. So I'm really happy.
Congratulations once
Thank you.
again. And I think I'm seeing double. Who's this handsome guy?
That's my twin brother. My twin brother that I've never met.
Known for his approachable and hands-on leadership style, Dave has positioned Aboitiz as a company that is resilient and forward-thinking. I want to talk about his philosophy to learn what goes into leading a thriving real estate organization.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Farah. Yeah.
You're rounding off a 5-year leadership stint in Aboitiz That's on top of a stellar 33-year career in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel having gone this far at this point?
Wow, it's, my stint with Aboitiz I think, as you probably know, this is the 4th time I've retired, right? I can honestly say it's really a fitting end to my formal engagement, employment with real estate companies, right? The reason I say that is because when I joined Aboitiz the time that I joined, it was so eventful. Those 5 years were so eventful, no? There were a lot of things that were going on in the organization, a lot of changes, a lot of problems that need to be fixed. And then we had the pandemic, which I think was really very difficult for any kind of business. My last retirement in Aboitiz, I would say, has been the most fulfilling, but also the most challenging.
I can tell you weren't bored at any point while you were
Definitely.
here in Aboitiz
Every day that I wake up and I would come to work, I would always be ready for a very different situation because you never know what to expect because there was always something new that would crop up.
So, looking back, what are you most proud of about your leadership journey in Aboitiz Can you cite one thing?
When I was hired by Aboitiz in 2019, I still remember it was Moncho Aboitiz who at that time was still the president of Aboitiz And then he interviewed me. The first question I asked him is, Moncho, why are you hiring me? I'm already 60 years old, right? And he said, oh, don't worry, Dave. I mean, you're just coming in, maybe 2-3 years, just fix some of the problems, just mentor some of the leaders here so that they learn a little bit from your experience. And then that's it. But it didn't turn out that way. It was completely different. And that's why I guess my stay went beyond the 3 years that was supposed to have been the expectation. But I feel that my stay in Aboitiz has been very fruitful. No? I look at my job as being able to address the interests of various stakeholders. And in Aboitiz, I felt that the 3 important stakeholders whose interests I needed to meet. Number 1, of course, is the board, right? Because they're the ones who own the company. And they had a lot of concerns about Aboitiz operations and all that, profitability, so forth, so on, the business metrics. And I feel that my stay in Aboitiz to address the interest of that stakeholder was satisfied. Number 2 important stakeholder, of course, are the people in the organization. Because at the end of the day, a leader is only as good as the people that he has. That was very challenging. You had to really address a lot of concerns from the people. You had to address the culture. There were a lot of problems with the culture in terms of values. And I feel that my stay in the company, I was quite successful in developing that culture that I would say is characterized by innovation, strong sense of accountability, and a strong belief in personal excellence. And the third stakeholder for me that I think is important that you need to satisfy are basically your customers, the people who buy your products. I think that we've also gone a long way in trying to address a lot of the problems with customers in terms of the quality of our products, in terms of customer service, in terms of the delivery, a capital appreciation of their projects. I think we were able to meet that. Sustainability, we've done a lot of very good projects that answer the environmental sustainability angle. The Pawikan projects are going into precast panels so that we could reduce the carbon footprint of Aboitiz land. Our customers, that's the third important stakeholder. I feel I have been successful in trying to meet their interests.
Congratulations. Not a lot of retirees can say that about themselves, right?
Okay. Thank you.
What was your biggest inspiration or driving force behind fostering a culture of innovation? And why innovation in the first place?
I'm a student of history. I like reading history. So, for example, you look at the past, you look at all the important inventions through the years now, and the benefits that it delivered to the greater public. The invention of electricity, the invention of the steam engine, invention of vaccines. You look at the biggest companies in the US in terms of market capitalization. 50 years ago, there were all these big manufacturing companies, IBM and so forth and so on. But you look at the 50 top companies now in terms of market capitalization in the US, 9 of them are all tech companies. You don't have any of these manufacturing companies. And these are tech companies that are there not because they have a lot of real estate or they're all over the world. No, it's because of their innovation, constant innovation, coming up with new products, really that catch on. I look at all of this and I tell myself, you want to make a meaningful contribution to society, to your other fellow human beings, you need to innovate. You can't be stuck doing the same things over because, you won't make a difference. And I guess that's it. I just feel personally, in my own small way in this earth, I want to make some kind of a difference to people.
But interesting that you say that, Dave, because as an industry, real estate isn't really known for innovation, right? So it's kind of not common in our industry, right? So where did you get the idea about bringing innovation into Aboitiz land?
I've been in real estate for over 30 years, right? So I've seen real estate from many years back. And that was my observation. It got frustrating that among all of the industries, I felt that real estate was one of the industries that was sort of resistant to innovation. They had this mentality that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, which is a terrible mentality. And so I said to myself, joining Aboitiz land, we're a fairly small player. That's the reality. We're not in the same league as the big players, right? So I asked myself, how can we compete as a small real estate player in this industry? It's got to be innovation. That is our competitive advantage, right? And of course, the other factors there were all these external factors like the pandemic that really forces you to come up with different ways, different business models. Otherwise, you just won't survive.
So how did you encourage employees or team members to think outside the box and take risks without fearing failure?
Number one, I think it starts with the leader. It starts with me. You gotta walk the talk. You gotta show them that if you're preaching innovation, if you're preaching any kind of value, you've got to live it every day consistently. Otherwise, there's just no credibility. There's this concept of psychological safety. That concept is you create an environment for them where they feel safe to act, to behave in a way that is not their normal. So that means being tolerant, telling them, hey, try something new. We're not guaranteeing that you're going to succeed, but don't be afraid if you fail. The important thing is you tried something new, and if you failed, you learned something from it, and then going forward, you're a better person for it because now you've learned something, and just keep on trying something new again, right? So it's really all about providing that psychological space for people to go outside of themselves, try something new. Unless you provide that environment, they're not going to try it.
I can personally vouch that, having lived through that environment where I feel psychologically safe, I've really seen a lot of team members thrive under that environment, Dave. So good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Dave, you've led Aboitiz through many transformations, from technology adoption to sustainable real estate practices. What do you consider to be your most significant achievement in transforming the company?
Of course, there were a lot of new technologies that I, together with the team, worked on and we introduced quite successfully. But I just told them, look, we've got this problem. This is the objective. We need to improve. We need to make changes. It was really the people in the organization that thought of it and looked and researched. So I think for me, my role was not looking for the technology, choosing it, and making people use it. No, I never did that. It was my telling them, just through discussions, open conversations, that this is the problem. How can we do things better? But the solution and even the execution and the implementation was really a product of the team working together and seeing the advantage, the usefulness of that technology in terms of improving productivity and so forth.
So speaking of being the catalyst, what strategies did you employ for the team leaders to keep pushing boundaries?
Right. The first step was getting everybody on the same page in terms of we needed to innovate. It was a necessity. I needed to let everybody know that this was a matter of survival, right? Because not everybody was not on that same level of urgency. The second was really deciding on prioritizing. You've got limited resources, right? So you can't just say, innovate everything. No, that's impossible. So you really have to decide, you have to be clear-eyed and prioritize which areas we do first. In the case of Aboitiz Land, we identified those critical areas that we needed to innovate right away, right? So that was in construction, in finance, in sales and marketing, areas that really needed immediate fixing because it had a direct impact on our bottom line, on our financials. So once you've prioritized, the people in the different teams, you let them loose to look for the innovations that needed to be done to address the specific questions in their respective groups. And you just monitor them, you help them, you provide them with the resources. If they need to do inspection, they need to talk to people, and have those meetings. The fourth and last step really is when you decide on the technology, you execute, you monitor, you've got very clear metrics on what that technology is supposed to do. So I think that those were really the 4 steps.
I think it's also a matter of failing fast when you realize it's not
That's
working
right,
for you.
also.
I think you're about to touch on something that I know was really important to you during your leadership stint here in Aboitiz Land, and that's creating a culture of personal accountability.
Right.
How did you go about building this culture, and why was it so important to you?
When I do something, I want to make sure that it's done well. It's done to the best of my ability. Maybe it's not perfect, but what I feel is I've given it 100%. It's the best that I can do to the best of my ability. So it's personal for me. Personal accountability is personal. When I don't achieve the target, even in my personal life, it affects me because I guess I have high expectations of myself. I know that I can do better. So when I don't maximize my potential, I just feel that I'm not maximizing whatever God-given talent was given to me.
How challenging or rewarding has it been to ensure that people around you act and think the same way?
Oh, it's very rewarding. I reflect on the satisfaction that I get when I'm able to meet the objective, when I'm able to accomplish what I'm supposed to accomplish. People notice you, people praise you, and that feels good, right? It extends to maybe material gratification, right? So I tell myself, if I get this high because you're able to achieve whatever assignment, whatever task you have, I can imagine that same feeling being felt by everybody else. The joy in being able to maximize their potential and realize that, wow, I've got this talent, I've got this capability. It's a wonderful feeling.
The feeling of winning
Yes.
and winning together.
Yeah.
You've often spoken about the importance of personal excellence within the company. What values do you stand by that are essential to achieving personal excellence both in leadership and both in day-to-day life?
I went to Ateneo for college, right? And believe it or not, my undergraduate degree was in philosophy. There's this Greek concept in Greek philosophy called arete, A-R-E-T-E, personal excellence, right? So the Greeks believed in that. It's a moral duty to pursue arete, right? So in everything they did, in literature, in music, in battle, that was what was motivating them. So in everything I do, I'm animated by arete, whether it be work, whether it be, eating or religion or whatever activity. It's your moral duty to be excellent. It's like a religion for me. And so I've brought it with me to work. I don't think you've heard me talk about it at work, right? But rather, I show it every time I go to work. I'm always energized. I'm always enthusiastic. I attend all the meetings. I'm very involved. I ask questions. If I'm asked my advice, I always give it. I'm always enthusiastic about work. So for me, that's all part of arete. And that's all part of this whole idea of maximizing whatever potential that you have because it's a moral duty. When we started in Aboitiz land, honestly, I felt a lot of indifference among the team members. Why don't they feel this moral duty to pursue their arete? So I had to work on that. I had to make people realize that you have potential. You can be excellent in your own way. The important thing is you have that drive. You have that desire to try to make as much of whatever potential that you have, to have that attitude.
So you're saying you're noticing it.
And I believe I am. I mean, when I think of the meetings, the conversations that I'm having with the same people 3 years ago that were indifferent, that didn't care, and I have that same conversation with them now, it's very different. They really want to do good. They really want to do well. They have a commitment to try to make up, to try to do better. And I see it on an individual level. And it's very gratifying.
You can imagine how fulfilling that must be, Dave. They say that a good leader leaves an organization in a better shape than when he first found it. How would you describe the impact of your leadership after 5 years at the helm in Aboitiz land?
One of the things also that I think we've improved on tremendously with Aboitiz land is the performance management system. And I have to give kudos to the HR people who really worked on it. We were constantly changing it, tweaking it, and it really helps in shaping the behavior that we wanted the organization to show. Of course, we've got our usual town hall meetings. We introduced a lot of special rewards like the CEO Award, the Resiliency Award. I think those are very important, not only because of the financial gain, but the recognition for people who show certain kinds of behavior, innovation, accountability, personal excellence, and all. No, those have been very helpful.
As we were talking, Dave, I get a sense of satisfaction, almost peace, that, a lot of the job was done, a lot of the results were achieved. And so, for my final question to you, as you're winding down your last few months with Aboitiz land, what would be your wishes for the organization and its stakeholders?
My one wish is that I hope that whatever culture, whatever mindset that has been developed and that I have seen doesn't change. In fact, I hope it just grows even stronger. Your sense of innovation, your sense of personal accountability, your sense of excellence, if you can only exhibit it even more and embrace it more passionately for the next leader that's coming in, that'll be a great gift to me if I know that has been, my legacy. Because once that happens, everything is taken care of. Operations, financials, all the expectations of the board, all the expectations of higher management. Once you've got that strong culture in place, it'll just happen.
And that would be us paying it forward.
Correct? Correct.
So that wraps up our interview for today, Dave. It's been very nice.
Thank you
and
very
I've
much, Farah. It was great.
learned a
I
lot.
enjoyed it.